Do you know why you're stuck in mediocrity? Because you keep believing the same lies most people do. That being good is enough, that people are fair, that life will eventually reward you. Let me shatter that illusion right now. No one is coming to save you. No one will reward you for your naive nobility. The world is a battlefield, and while you wait for recognition, others are already playing with an advantage. Want to know what it means to be a mental monster? I'll tell you straight up. A mental monster has a mind so strong and strategic that no one can manipulate them, break them, or use their weaknesses against them. Machiavelli, the most feared and misunderstood thinker in history, knew this. Most people live enslaved by illusions, emotions, and false hopes. A mental monster isn't born, it's forged, not with pretty quotes or cheap self-help positivity, but with a truth that stings. Power lies in the unbreakable mind, the mind that can't be manipulated. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. People drown in their own illusions, slaves to emotions and empty hopes. But those who master their mind master their destiny. The question is, can you do it? Or will you keep living like a sheep in a world of wolves? Look around. People who fail aren't stupid or physically weak. They just never learn to see reality for what it is. They fool themselves with the idea that love fixes everything, that loyalty lasts forever, that blind effort guarantees success. But the truth is brutal. If you don't master your mind, someone else will master you. Here's the secret no one wants to hear. Being a mental monster doesn't mean being cruel or ruthless for no reason. It means waking up from fairy tales and facing the world as it is. It means staring at betrayal, injustice, and competition without flinching and still moving forward. And here's where your challenge begins, because now you know what a mental monster is. You heard it in the first few seconds, but the key question lingers. How the hell do you reach that level of strength? How do you transform an ordinary mind, full of fears and excuses, into an unbreakable fortress? Don't expect sweetness here. What's coming isn't self-help advice or shareable social media quotes. It's a breakdown of 4 pillars few dare to apply: brutal clarity, emotional control, the art of appearances, and relentless action. That's the path. That's the price. Stick around, because after this, you'll never see life the same way again. The origin of the mental monster. Machiavelli and raw reality, to truly understand what it means to be a mental monster. You first have to face raw reality head-on. And for that, there's one unavoidable name: Niccolo Machiavelli, the most feared, hated, and misunderstood thinker in history. He didn't write stories about noble heroes or sugarcoat reality with hope. He spoke truths people can't stomach. Human nature is selfish, treacherous, and brutally self-interested. In his most famous work, the Prince Asterisk, he made it clear: men forget the death of their father more easily than the loss of their wealth. Harsh. Yes, false, no. What Machiavelli was saying is that when you strip away the masks, humans are driven by self-interest, not kindness. And if you don't get that, you're doomed to be devoured. Think that's exaggerated? Look at the world today. You don't need to look at medieval palaces or castles. Look at your workplace, your relationships, your circle of friends. Do you think everyone's there out of unbreakable loyalty? Do you think no one would stab you in the back for an advantage? Naive. The world hasn't changed, just the setting has. Now the battlefield is offices, social media, politics, and personal relationships. But the logic is the same. And here's where the idea of the mental monster comes in. Not as a soulless villain, but as someone who dares to see the world as it is, not as they wish it were. A mental monster doesn't hide behind morality used as a disguise. They understand that justice, kindness, or nobility are useful but secondary. In the real world, the one who survives is the one who thinks coldly, strategically, and with vision. Machiavelli taught that a naive prince who blindly trusted in the goodness of his people or the word of his enemies was doomed to fail. The same applies to you. If you trust blindly, if you refuse to see the signs, you'll end up broken. Weak people hope life is fair. A mental monster accepts it isn't and uses that certainty to their advantage. Because while others waste time crying over what should be, the mental monster acts on what is. That's the origin, not in motivational quotes or naive dreams, but in the brutal acceptance that life is a chessboard where the naive are always sacrificed. Want real power, want resilience, want freedom. Then you need to rip off the blindfold. You need to start thinking like Machiavelli, with raw clarity, strategy, and a gaze that pierces through everyone's masks. That's the first step to your transformation. Once you accept this truth, you're ready for the next level. Brutal clarity. Asterisk asterisk, first pillar. Brutal clarity, asterisk asterisk. Most people live in a mental fog. They'd rather lie to themselves, make excuses, and believe everything will be fine if they just wait long enough. They cling to the idea that their friends will always be loyal, that their workplace values them just for being good, that love alone sustains a relationship. That's the trap. Living numbed by illusions is the perfect recipe for losing power, respect, and freedom. Machiavelli knew it. The one who deceives themselves ends up defeated. A mental monster does the opposite. They rip off the blindfold, even if it hurts. If someone in your life only brings excuses, you see it coldly. If a project isn't working, you accept it before it drags you down. If reality is harsh, you face it without dressing it up in false hopes. Brutal clarity is the foundation of all power. Because when you see things as they are, without filters, you can make decisions while others freeze. A naive leader who trusts everyone will be betrayed. A business owner who refuses to see their company's decline will lose everything. A person who ignores the signs of a toxic relationship will end up destroyed. Only those who see reality without fear can survive and thrive. Becoming a mental monster doesn't mean becoming heartless. It means accepting that truth, no matter how uncomfortable, is the only solid foundation. And here's the reward. When you have brutal clarity, no one can deceive you. And when no one can deceive you, no one can control you. Asterisk asterisk, second pillar. Strategic emotional control. Asterisk asterisk, seeing reality isn't enough. The next level is even tougher. Mastering your emotions before they master you. Anger, fear, guilt, euphoria. They're all invisible strings others will use to manipulate you if you don't control them. How many times have you ruined something by reacting in anger? How many opportunities have you lost by giving in to anxiety? That's not chance, it's weakness, and Machiavelli would have called it a fatal mistake. The one who governs their emotions governs the world, but be careful, control doesn't mean suppression. A mental monster isn't a cold machine. They feel, but they use their emotions as weapons, not chains. They know when to show them, when to hide them, and when to turn them into power. Clear examples: at work, someone provokes you. The weak explode and look bad. The mental monster smiles, observes, and strikes back at the perfect moment. In a negotiation, the naive panic. The mental monster projects calm, controls their anxiety, and secures better terms. In a personal argument, the average person begs and grovels. The mental monster knows showing neediness is losing control and acts with resolve. That's the secret. Turn anger into precision, fear into alertness, sadness into reflection, and joy into persuasion. Every emotion is a tool, never a chain, because in the end, those who show vulnerability to their enemies have already lost. In modern life, it's the same. Those who don't control their emotions become slaves to others. A mental monster, on the other hand, is their own master, and that's a power no one can take away. Asterisk asterisk, third pillar. The art of appearances ***. You can have brutal clarity and emotional control. But if you don't know how to manage what you project, you're lost. Machiavelli made it clear, it's not just who you are, it's what others think you are. Perception outweighs reality. A mental monster gets this. They master their inner world but also their image, because most people never dig deeper. They judge based on what they see, hear, and feel in the first moment. If that's the game, you play it to your advantage. Machiavelli advised princes to appear virtuous, even if they weren't always so. Hypocrisy? No. Strategy. Because your image opens doors the truth alone never could. It works the same in modern life. The entrepreneur who projects confidence attracts allies, even if they don't yet have all the resources. The person who projects firm boundaries earns respect, even if they doubt themselves inside. The one who stays calm in a storm is followed, while the one who shows desperation is trampled. The mistake many make is confusing authenticity with baring their soul to everyone. No. A mental monster knows real authenticity is choosing which version of yourself serves the moment. That's the power. Others think they know you, but they only see what you choose to show. ***. Fourth pillar, relentless action. ***. Here's the ultimate filter. You can think clearly, control your emotions, and manage your image, but if you don't act, it's all smoke. A mental monster doesn't freeze, they execute. Machiavelli observed that princes who hesitated too long lost everything. Those who acted decisively, even if they made mistakes, held onto power. The same lesson applies today. In business, the one who waits for the perfect moment never starts. The one who dives in, learns, adapts, and gains ground. In relationships, the one who stays silent out of fear sinks into toxic dynamics. The one who speaks clearly breaks free. In personal life, the one who postpones until tomorrow dies having done nothing. And here's the key, relentless action doesn't mean impulsivity. It's not moving without thinking. It's not freezing when you know what to do. A mental monster plans and then executes without hesitation or retreat. Examples abound. Alexander the Great conquered half the world because he acted before others could react. Today, entrepreneurs turn small projects into empires because they dared to take the first step while thousands of dreamers waited for the perfect sign. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The world doesn't belong to the kindest or the smartest, but to those who act while others keep doubting. ***. Conclusion. The true transformation ***, combining the four pillars, brutal clarity, emotional control, the art of appearances, and relentless action, is what makes you a mental monster. And that transformation isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. In a world that wants you weak, naive, and manipulable, only those who strengthen themselves from within can be truly free. Being a mental monster isn't about being cruel, it's about being invulnerable. It's seeing through lies, feeling emotions and turning them into strategy, projecting strength when the world wants you broken, and above all, acting decisively while others remain paralyzed.